Official updates. We just got another one today, and I thought I'd show you here in case you haven't seen it yet. And as usual, I'll have the whole post linked in the description. As you know, it was initially announced that Official Classic will have a release schedule of 4 phases, which looked like this. For Stage 1, we had the Molten Core, Onyxia, Diremal, Kha'Zix, and Azergos. And for 2, we had the Blackwing Lair, Battlegrounds, PVP Rewards, and Zul'Gurub. And for Stage 3 we have Ahn'Qiraj, Dungeon Set 2, Silithus, and the Green Dragons. And lastly for 4, we of course have Naxxramas and the Scourge Invasion. As they mentioned though, it was still a work in progress, and today they altered this list into the following 6 phases instead. Note that there's no specific timeline as of yet, since we don't even have an actual release date, aside from a vague summer 2019. The exception being Stage 1, which will serve as the launch stage, of course. So now, we have Molten Core, Onyxia, and Maraudon for Phase 1, and they moved Diremal and the world bosses Azergos and Kha'Zix to Stage 2, and we have Blackwing Lair at Stage 3, and they've now added the Darkmoon Faire to the list, and they put them in Stage 3 as well. As for Stage 4, we have Zul'Gurub and the Green Dragons. For 5, we have the Ahn'Qiraj raids in the world event, and also some loot reconfiguration, which I'll go into detail with in a bit. This includes that Dungeon Set 2 and the relics, which as you may remember are those special items for paladins, druids, and shamans, since they couldn't put anything into their range slot. And lastly, for Stage 6, we have Naxxramas and the Scourge Invasion. So let's go over these stages one by one and explain just what's going on here and why this was all changed. So, Phase 1, the Molten Core, Onyxia, and Maraudon. This is very close to the actual release date of the game as it was in 2004, with the exception being Maraudon here, which was released in patch 1.2 in December of the same year, just 1 month away. The big news here is that Diremal and the world bosses are no longer tied to the release stage. As for Diremal, this had some key items such as Quel Sorar, which was the introduction to tanking swords, and you also had the class unique fire resistance trinkets, as well as several crafting recipes and so on. This was one of the major concerns with the original release schedule, since players didn't have access to all of this stuff until patch 1.3, which was about 4 months after the release of the game. And it's the same with Kha'Zix and Azergos. They were also in patch 1.3, so separating these from the release date of the game much more accurately emulates the original release schedule. Moving on here though, the Blackwing Lair no longer shares the same phase as Zul'Gurub, which is key. BWL, along with the Darkmoon Faire, were patch 1.6 in July of 2005, and Zul'Gurub was 1.7, which was 2 months later in September of the same year. So again, just separating these provides a much closer experience to the retail release, whereas before this change, we would have had a lot of nice items from ZG or the Darkmoon Faire trinkets to help us progress through the Blackwing Lair. So now, we also have Zul'Gurub in its own phase of number 4 here, along with the Green Dragons. Now, this isn't exact here, as the Green Dragons came out 1 patch after ZG. They were 1 month later, in October in patch 1.8, but still, it's a big improvement because they're no longer crammed in with AQ, which brings us to Stage 5. The Ahn'Qiraj War Effort, the Ahn'Qiraj Raids, and the Dungeon Loot Reconfiguration. AQ was patch 1.9 in January of 2006, our first raid of the year, so this too sees its own phase now. And another huge thing is the Dungeon Loot Reconfiguration of Tier 0.5, relics, and drop rates and whatnot. This was also a big concern. As the game progressed, new and more powerful items outside of the big raids were also being added, of course. New recipes, those relics that they mentioned in the Dungeon Set 2, a lot of these items were considered to be even better than some found in raids. I think the most popular one being mentioned being the Titanic Leggings pattern, which Blizzard themselves also name-dropped. They confirmed that this will be in Stage 5 right alongside AQ. Specifically, they said that they'll turn it on once the gates are unlocked, so people can't farm them up during the war effort and then go into AQ 40 fully geared up with them. I think this is maybe the biggest change out of everything here. Pretty huge for balance. And lastly, we have the Scourge Invasion and Naxxramas for Phase 6. Nothing too surprising to mention there. So the big takeaways here are that, not counting world bosses, each raid now has an exclusive phase. That is, they no longer share phases with other rates. And we also have details with itemization being addressed, and they're also being emulated along with the raids. It's a big win for those who wanted a more accurate recreation of the balance and the original release schedule. It's not exact, but it's pretty close. A missing thing you may have noticed is PvP. These were mentioned in the original release schedule, but are entirely absent from the updated version. They did address this luckily, and they basically said that they're still evaluating it since it's not so straightforward. The PvP gear changed both in method of obtainment and the actual stats. Just to name one example here, there was a time that rank 14s had to maintain their ranks to actually use the items, so it's not such a simple thing. But that's about it. Again, the link to this post is in the description, so go check it out for yourself. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Like I mentioned in my BlizzCon 2018 video, I think 6 stages is the perfect amount. It's not too little and it's not too many, but we still got time, and as they said, even this isn't final yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. I hope that this video helped you. Like it if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, gentlemen, I have promised this video for an entire week. We are finally here. It is finally time. We are going to finally watch this video. The decline of Blizzard.
That is why Warcraft 3 Reforged
Sucks.
is so terrible. I wish I never played a Blizzard game ever.
That's about right.
It too
Yeah.
pains me to hear what Blizzard has become.
What the fuck?
You shall have your wish granted.
It's Gandalf.
Wait, no! Ah,
What the fuck?
funny. My mind is completely blank now. I could have sworn I was
Wow.
just upset about something, but strange. I don't
Come,
really.
sit with me. I have a tale for you.
What the
Oh
fuck
boy,
is this, dude?
is it about video games?
The fuck you think it is? Of course we're.
What do you wish to tell me, old man?
Well, long ago, when video games were much simpler, there existed
olden
a company
days.
called Blizzard. Over time, Blizzard released several outstanding games that won not only awards, but the hearts of millions. With every new title, Blizzard
I remember
managed to
this,
outdo themselves. They
They
were like
did.
Tom Brady, and for many years,
Yeah.
Blizzard commanded great respect from gamers everywhere.
Sure did.
So what happened? The games were great, right? And they
Yeah,
kept making them?
They're awesome.
I don't believe you can target a single mistake and say this is where it all went wrong.
What is this?
Although Blizzard was well loved by many gamers,
Yeah, they were.
at some point something in them began to twist and contort until they were no longer the godlike beings we saw them as.
There's got to be more to it than that.
Yep.
Tell me everything.
If you insist.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I want to say like one big part of it is like, yeah, Activision or whatever. But one big part of it is the fact that there were always people that complained about and hated Blizzard. It's just that the internet wasn't around. It's like everybody hates every game now. Everybody hates every company now. So there's a point where you need to realize that as well. 2010-ish. Yeah, I think that's about right. You hate every
The
game? Yeah.
decline of Blizzard is not a story.
That was weird. The decline of Blizzard is not a story about a successful business that is now failing, but
No.
rather a business that continuously fails its fans. Blizzard
Yeah,
was one
something
of my
like that.
favorite game developers of all time. My
Warcraft
love
2,
for this
dude.
company started
Yeah.
when I was like 5 years old.
7
and
for
I've
me.
given them more than a decade's worth of support. Blizzard,
Yeah.
Yes, me lord.
Nintendo, Bungie. These were the companies I knew of growing up as a kid.
Exactly
All of
fucking
them
same.
were gods
Exactly
in my eyes.
same.
Nothing makes me feel old quite like reminiscing on the first time I ever played a real computer game.
Yeah,
You know,
dude.
sitting there with Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, Math Blaster, Dad bursts in.
I had Math Blaster back in the day. My mom fucking made me get it because I didn't want to learn how to do math. Like, I had all those old fucking games, man. Like, I still have, like, the old Duke Nukem thing.
Into the room, sits me down and says, son, you're almost 5 years old, but you've got a lot of manning up to do. It's time for a real game. Hands me StarCraft, and it was like, I'm Harry Potter grabbing the wand that was destined for me. I have so many vivid memories of playing the single-player campaign, custom games, loving the story, voice acting.
This was really good back in the day. This was high quality.
About how awesome these games are. And hopefully I get to make a video about them someday. The storytelling was out of this world. But what really blew me away were the cinematics. That intro to Brood War.
I love the cinematics back then. You guys need to understand, like, it's so long ago, it's hard to remember, but the cinematics back then, they were the same quality. They were better than the BFA cinematics because Blizzard was like so far ahead of everybody else. And I think as time has passed, other companies have caught up to Blizzard. But back then, there was like Blizzard cinematics, and then nobody, and then nobody, and then maybe other cinematics. Like, they were just so far above and beyond everybody else, it was fucking ridiculous. You have to remember, this was in the 90s that this shit came out.
That intro so much, I parodied it in a horribly irrelevant video. StarCraft was so awesome beyond what Blizzard created themselves.
Yeah.
And the map editor allowed for unique custom games that anyone could play.
I never did custom
Around
games.
this time, my brother and I somehow got our hands on a copy of
Diablo.
And holy hell, scares me shitless. So bloody and graphic. Later I realized in therapy just how traumatized I was by the butcher. I can still hear his voice now.
Fresh meat.
Addicting, satisfying.
I never
Diablo was a terrifying introduction to RPGs.
I wish I did.
Years later, Chapow,
too bad.
Reign of Chaos. Showed off
This
the
was
power
my game
of
right
Blizzard's battle drum.
This was it.
Frozen Throne comes out and it's like, okay, what have I done to deserve this blessing? An RTS with heroes that level up.
I would go over to my dad's house and I convinced my dad that he needed a $2,000 computer to check his email. And I actually just wanted him to buy the computer so I could play Warcraft 3. It worked, actually. It did. So I played this all the time over at my dad's house on like Battle.net. It was fucking amazing.
And combat would set the foundation for what World of Warcraft would become. And you know this part of the story.
I'm Mr. T and I'm a night elf Mohawk.
Oh no.
What's your game?
World of Warcraft took the world by storm.
Yeah.
Earth and fire, heed my call. Much like RuneScape, WoW became a pop culture phenomenon. I'll never forget the South Park episode where Blizzard and Comedy Central collaborated to make fun of the game. There was so much to love about Blizzard and their community, their identity. You know, just the fun-loving spirit behind everything.
Oh, man.
Dude, like, do you guys remember back whenever, like, I remember Nixian brought this up in a video once. If you guys played back in the day, do you guys ever remember whenever Blizzard would do their earnings call and they would announce how many more subscribers they had? And like everybody would be talking about it in trade chat. They're like, dude, the game just hit 8 million subs. Dude, the game just hit 9 million subs, man. And then like 10 million, everywhere was talking about it. It was just like such a good fucking feeling, man. It was like everybody had that I was there feeling about the game and they were there. It was just, it's something you don't even think about anymore. But I remember having conversations about that whenever he brought it up, and it was like fucking, oh, we're down to 2 million guys. We're down to 1 million guys. Yeah.
Poor Johnny.
Now, even though this video is going to be more on the negative side,
that doesn't look like Arcus at all.
I have a special place in my heart and memory for Blizzard as they were. The great people who were a part of it, and the incredible experiences they gave me.
Yeah.
That I bought. And that's not to say they haven't done any good over the last
I didn't buy
decade.
it, my mom did.
Overwatch was awesome.
Yeah.
WoW Classic, an incredible trip down memory lane.
Sure was.
Look, I'm not saying Blizzard as a whole is a reprehensible anti-gamer movement led by Anita Sarkeesian. whose sole purpose is to destroy all your favorite franchises and usher in the age of the Burning Legion. It's
Yeah,
not that
something
extreme,
like that.
alright? Truth be told, I don't have much good to say about current Blizzard, and that's where I want to focus, on where they went wrong, how they destroyed their own reputation and image in my eyes, in the eyes of an old-time fan.
Yeah, I think I'll probably be agreeing with pretty much all this, dude. Like, you guys know I got the Warcraft 3 box. I've got even the Warcraft 1 box. I've got all the old boxes in my old room, man. And it's kind of crazy for me to think about. I think that the problem is that the games aren't innovative anymore in the same way that they were. So like Overwatch, I think, is kind of an exception. I think that Overwatch is a genuinely really, really good game. But other than that, it feels like they haven't really taken any big chances and done anything unique and different with the game, like game development in general. And I think that's kind of why they were doing so well. Overwatch is good. Overwatch is TF2 reskinned. I thought it was a good game, right? I mean, Overwatch is TF2 in the same way that WoW was EverQuest. Oh shit! Oh shit! There he
When
is.
Blizzard tasted
Mr.
the cursed
Moneybags.
waters of Activision and merged with them in 2008,
Yep.
it wasn't a highly controversial move
It was.
at the time.
I
COD
was
4 had
mad.
just released 8 months earlier, Guitar Hero was the hottest fad since the Wii, and they hadn't milked any of those franchises to death. Back
Not
then,
yet.
Activision
Not
wasn't
yet.
the same money-grubbing company we know today. Or maybe they were, and they were just really good at hiding it. But none
I
of
remember whenever the merger happened, there were a lot of people that were concerned. And I remember, like, as soon as the first Stormount came out, that's whenever people started talking about it. Started talking about the merger. They're like, it's Activision making them do it, and that's whenever the questioning began.
us had the foresight.
But Activision
to
did make good
predict
games.
just how much
They make
this
great
would affect
games.
Blizzard's identity, their culture, and their
Yeah.
games.
You did this to our people knowingly?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot all about this one. Where you had to use your real
Our journey
name.
starts in July of 2010.
Yes.
Blizzard had a serious problem. StarCraft 2 absolutely killed it with its reveal, generating massive hype and sending shockwaves across all of Korea.
StarCraft
it
2
had
was
been
really
12
popular.
years since Brood War. Fans could not wait. StarCraft
Yep.
2 was coming out in 3 weeks, baby! However, Blizzard's official forums had become filled with vitriol and flame wars.
Yep.
Trolling and community toxicity was spiraling out of control, which
Yep,
diluted the
I remember
discussions
that.
about the games themselves. Blizzard could not have this continue with the launch of StarCraft 2. How do
Absolutely
we
not.
change this toxic part of our community? One executive asked. Weight loss programs and general hygiene classes.
That's not
Another
gonna work.
blurted out.
Nobody's gonna do
I've
that.
got it. People won't talk as much shit on the internet when they can be held accountable for it. So let's force
Well, Facebook proved that wrong. How the fuck did these guys ever think that was true? Like, what do you think? Somebody's gonna get fired for their job from saying that StarCraft 2 sucks? Like, yeah, it's the dumbest fucking thing ever. Yeah, so they forced people to use their real names. This is like a goal they were gonna do. They were gonna make people use their real names on the forums and like force real ID.
everyone who uses our forums to display their real name. Take that, trolls.
Yep.
Oh yes, that's a fantastic
Brilliant.
idea. Sheer
Amazing.
How'd you like a raise? Why are you so smart? Suck your dick. Okay, but
Wow.
how do we change this toxic part of our community without spitting in their face?
Yeah,
This decision, of course, had the exact reaction you'd expect.
it sure did.
The
I remember
forums were
this.
flooded
This is
with
during Wrath
complaints,
of the
and
Lich King.
one thread reached over 11,000 replies. Look, I'm not
Jesus.
saying let the trolls roam free in the forests of Buckland, but why wouldn't you just get moderators and or create stricter guidelines for using the forums? Forcing
Imagine moderating your platform. Imagine paying money to make the platform better. Imagine having people curtail bad behavior. Imagine having standards that you hold people to, and if people don't meet those standards, the accounts are actioned. Imagine that. I can't.
Everyone to reveal personal information would not only discourage people from posting, but also punish people who did nothing wrong. Ultimately, this new change would have created more problems than it would solve. So Blizzard scrapped it. But
there's actually a part of it there. One of the reasons why they scrapped it is, if I remember right, I could be misremembering the story, you know, partially, but one of the executives at Blizzard had their personal information leaked, and like somebody called in like a bomb threat to his daughter's school. It was like some kind of like really, really bad thing, and then after that, yeah, he got doxxed, and it was.
Oh, bat shock.
I don't remember what it was specifically, but I think that they didn't even realize, like Blizzard didn't even realize how bad it was, because they didn't know what could happen, because like it was like 2010, so like that kind of stuff wasn't really common then, so it was all kind of uncharted territory, and they just didn't know what was going on. And that's fucked up, man. Well, exactly. But the people did that, and it's not a good thing they did that, but like it certainly fucking showed them that it was a big fucking mistake to do this, because it gives people this amount of power, and having that power is not good.
The fact that Real ID was even considered as a possibility, let alone planned to be implemented across the board, was really just such a bizarre, out of touch
It was a
thing
weird decision
to even attempt.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't know
there's
why they did this.
I work in a charity. If they see I am a gamer, it could affect my employment prospects. Gamers have been oppressed since 2010, baby.
Back then, it was still kind of a, it wasn't super normal to be a gamer. I know that might sound weird, right? But like, back then, like being a gamer was still kind of like assumedly like, okay, you're lazy and you don't do anything. Frowned
But
upon,
the outrage seemed to be only temporary.
Right.
If we only knew what was in store for us down the line.
Oh boy. There he is. Oh, League of Legends.
Blizzard has a long list of battles in the courtroom.
Yeah,
None more famous
Dota,
than Valve
Dota.
Corporation v. Activision Blizzard. This, of course, was over the legal rights to Defense of the Ancients.
I don't know how the
most
fuck Blizzard
popular
lost
custom
this.
game for Warcraft 3. And it was a battle for the ages.
Yep.
Two of the biggest and most successful PC developers duking it out. Who will come out on top? From what I understand, Valve worked with Dota developer Ice Frog, who was later hired by them, and they wanted to trademark Dota as their intellectual property.
Yep.
Blizzard, of course, didn't want that.
I don't want it.
But Valve had already filed a trademark. Now, it's complicated, but for whatever reason, Blizzard and Valve settled out of court, with Valve keeping the rights to Dota All-Stars for commercial purposes, and Blizzard would be able to use it within their own custom games.
I don't
This
know what
appears
the
to have been
fuck
a
that-
mutual agreement, but
Yeah.
with hindsight, we see just how badly Blizzard was shafted. Nobody thought Dota...
No, they fucked themselves in the ass. Like, the thing is that if Blizzard had been on top of the MOBA genre, I really do feel like that, and like I never even thought of this before this video here, but like imagine if Blizzard had been the ones that spearheaded MOBA gaming. That would have been fucking ridiculous. And I would have played MOBAs then. It probably would have changed like my gaming habits even too. Would have been bad? No. What do you mean? It's not possible? I don't know. Like, yeah.
Sure, they did try with HOTS.
Well, yeah, like way later on, and like HOTS wasn't about if HOTS was a really good game, nobody would have played it because people are already too invested in the other games. I don't know, man. MOBAs suck then? Yeah, I feel like honestly, if Blizzard had been the ones that spearheaded MOBAs, like maybe that would have been bad, right? But like assuming the same thing would have happened, like the perception of Blizzard would probably be much different.
would turn into the massive esports juggernaut that it is today.
It's massive.
But you have to wonder, how could Blizzard just let the magic lamp slip through their hands?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Aww. There it is.
Many fans lost faith in Blizzard's ability to retain the rights and provide the games they wanted.
Yeah. Not a good time. Oh.
World of War
2012 to current? Oh, come on, man. To current. Shit, dude. Shit. Here we go.
World of Warcraft has been Blizzard's main moneymaker for years.
Yep.
With a large, diverse, dedicated community. Throughout the Burning Legion and Wrath of the Lich King expansions, the game only grew in size. Cataclysm was a bit rocky, but it wasn't until May 2012 that Mists of Pandaria released, and a large portion of fans voiced their discontent. This was really the turning point for World of Warcraft and what turned many people off of that game. Blizzard reported that 14% of users had canceled their subscriptions, a loss of 13 million players, after a brand new expansion that's supposed to build the game up. Shortly after this, Blizzard stopped publicizing their subscription numbers, as showing a steady decline might further exacerbate the decline.
Yeah, exactly.
There were many controversial changes to WoW over the years.
The thing is, like, they just made such a big mistake by, like, I feel like Raid Finder and Dungeon Finder were, like, really bad for the game. And I think that's one of the big differences. Also, like, the fact that Mists of Pandaria, the theme for the game just wasn't really something that resonated with players at all. And I think that obviously it was fine in retrospect, but like you compare it to Burning Crusade, which was Illidan. Everybody knew Illidan from Warcraft 3. Wrath of the Lich King, I mean, come on. Like, Deathwing was like really only, it was like tangentially mentioned in like a few quests, and there was a book that was written about him, but that's about it. There wasn't really a whole lot of other stuff going on with Deathwing. So Cataclysm kind of came out, or not Cataclysm, sorry, but like Mists of Pandaria, that was literally an April Fool's joke and a hidden mission inside of Warcraft 3. Like, it was completely out of left field. Like, Cataclysm was kind of out of left field, but like Mists of Pandaria was way, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, nobody expected that at all. So, same with the Diablo mobile game, appealing to China, I don't know. But overall, like, I do think that was a big reason why people didn't like it, was the theme. For me personally, that was the worst part about Mists of Pandaria. And then obviously having like all the different raid difficulties, all that other dog shit that I always talk about. You guys know how I feel about that.
Among many was the Dungeon Finder, an expedited way of finding players for raids and instances. Initially, you had to rally up a group of friends or other players and all commit hours to tackling these intense dungeons. And that was a lot of fun. It created so much community interaction.
Well, it's
Many of WoW's community-oriented features were made more accessible at the cost of player agency. World of Warcraft started to feel less like a world and more of an automated experience. Why leave the main city if you can just hop into a queue and find a raider instance anyways? In some ways, I'm willing to give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt for WoW's decline in popularity. Keeping a game alive for that long is gonna have some speed bumps. And even
no, it's a problem as they started taking. Here's the problem with WoW, right? Is they started making WoW not appeal to people that play WoW, that like WoW. They started making WoW not WoW in order to make people that don't like WoW like WoW. And whenever they did that, they alienated the people that did like the game. And you have like this weird middle ground right now where they're catering to people and they're trying to make the game appealing to people that don't like it. And that's the problem that they did with Wrath. They made Wrath. Wrath, I think, in a lot of ways, was made to appeal to people that did not like WoW beforehand, and that's why they made way easier raids. They had the Dungeon Finder, and they had like all of this fucking catch-up gear, and like all of this stuff happened. It worked only in the short term. Because really, I mean, Burning Crusade saw much more growth than Wrath of the Lich King, and obviously it's part of the nature of the game being newer then. But also, like, subs flatlined in Wrath too. Like, even in Wrath, they flatlined towards the end of ICC. And it's not a surprise, it took forever. But, no, I think it was a massive mistake. It really was.
Even though many fans have disagreed with the direction Blizzard has taken, at least they finally came out with WoW Classic. And both games seem to be coexisting peacefully.
Yeah, right.
But here's where we get into the real shit. Maybe it was just my experience, but I vividly remember the launch of Diablo 3 as being one of the single most disappointing game launches of all time, next to MCC.
What?
It was that bad.
We got in, like, I got into Diablo 3 pretty early on. Like, it took me, like, maybe an hour or two to log in, and then I played until the sun came up, and then, like, after that, everything was pretty much good.
Close
Error
enough.
37. Yeah, I remember Error 37 was the top trending thing on all of Twitter the night that Diablo 3 got released. It was such a massive fucking cock. Diablo 3, I feel like the problem with Diablo 3 is that there was no testing for any of the acts beyond Act 1. And there also was no testing for Inferno mode. So the fact is, like, people got through the core game in like a week, then after that they played Inferno that was not balanced at all. And Blizzard intentionally did not balance it because they're like, we just took everything and doubled the values for everything. And obviously that's not going to give you a pretty, it's not going to be enjoyable to play. Because it was just completely overtuned and super hard for certain classes, and then only doable by certain, other classes. It was complete fucking garbage. And then on top of that, you had the auction house, which I don't think the auction house was that big of a deal, personally. But you had like the other acts, like Act 2, 3, 4. These acts, so if you guys remember, I don't know if you do, but back whenever the Diablo 3 beta was out, you could only do Act 1. So Act 1, even in Inferno mode, was pretty good. Act 1 was very well coded. There were no big bugs, or, well, I guess in Act 2, most of the bugs with the bugs were bugs, but with the wasps. But in Act 1, everything was relatively clean, up until Skeleton King. Yeah, you would get up to Skeleton King, and then it would be open. You never did the Butcher. But even the Butcher was pretty much okay. So, yeah, as soon as you got into Act 2, you had like these mobs that would throw grenades at you, and they just one-shot you.
It was the wasps.
No, the wasps. So there would be like these little wasps that you would have to kill, and they would shoot little smaller wasps at you. But what would happen is not only would the smaller wasps basically one-shot you if even one of them hit you, but on top of that, they would just despawn. They would go invisible randomly because of a bug, and then you'd just die. So you'd just be standing there, the wasps would go away, and then they'd hit you while they were invisible, and you would die. It was fucking ridiculous. So, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like Diablo 3, like, those were the big mistakes they made with Diablo 3.
Not only had basically all of the depth been stripped away from Diablo 2, not only did it feel like a poor man's version of Diablo 2, but it was also just straight up broken. I waited years for this game, and within 4 hours of gameplay, I was like, this ain't it, Chief, and never looked back. The always online and DRM features were heavily criticized, totally unnecessary for people wanting to just play single player.
Single player, is it? Says Diablo 3. Mind if we force you to play online anyway, in case you change your mind? Kind of do as it happens, Diablo 3. Sorry, can't hear you over the sound of all my money!
The art direction...
I never thought being always online was a big deal, and the only reason it was a problem is because the online servers were dog shit. Like, I didn't really care about always online because I thought it was to prevent hackers. I didn't care about that. But the servers were just terrible. And that's why you would die all the time. Like, you'd rubber band, you'd get out of something, you'd rubber band back, it would hit you. It was just fucking terrible.
It was criticized, it didn't feel hellish. Gameplay story was awful. Excessive amounts of useless gear with 1% of that shit being actually usable.
Oh, some things never changed.
Everything was a bust. It just didn't feel
I'm
like
glad they took that idea and they put it in WoW.
Diablo.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
Diablo 3 was the subject of numerous complaints by fair trade organizations across the world. In France alone, a consumer group reported that there were 1,500 complaints in 4 days. The organization, forgive me, K Choisier, asked Blizzard to, and this is my translation, tell us when the fuck the game is going to be playable.
Oh yeah.
Be straight up, okay? Be a fucking homie. Blizzard responded by saying, There's a sticker on the box that says, internet connection required.
Fuck you!
The Fair Trade Commission alleged that Blizzard had violated consumer rights laws in South Korea.
Wow.
Hundreds of gamers from there demanded refunds, which
Yep.
Blizzard refused to grant until a month later. In Germany, the Federation of Consumer Organizations threatened legal action against Blizzard
Jesus, dude, I
for their
forgot all
lack
about
of
this.
transparency, with the
I forgot
DRM,
all about
consumers'
this.
inability to resell the game, and then there was the auction house, a feature Blizzard implemented to make everyone's gaming experience much better, right? If the gameplay wasn't shallow enough, this fucking atrocity of a feature made it so players could literally put in real money to buy the best gear.
I sold the sword on there for 150 bucks. I think it was actually a pole arm. I will never forget that. I'll never even forget where I was. Like, I went inside like the first level of the butcher's area, and it was like the first mob in there. I killed it, and it drops this fucking item level 63 like fucking one hand. I loot that shit, and I sold it on that auction house for $150, and I celebrated, and I took me and all the boys out to Panda Express. I said, boys, we're rich now. We ain't gotta worry about no motherfucking money, dude. Get whatever you want on the menu. Like, that was so fucking good, man. And I don't really think they should do, like, the real money auction house was a mistake, but I think having the auction house in Diablo 3 was a good idea. I liked having the auction house more than not having one in Reaper of Souls. It actually made the game kind of boring for me.
This undercut the entire point of playing Diablo 3. The quest for gear comes from playing the game, killing monsters, doing quests.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fulfilling.
Yeah.
Not by entering your credit card information.
You just
It
buy
was one of
whatever
the
you want.
earlier and more egregious forms of microtransactions, as Blizzard took a cut of all the profits.
How convenient.
It took them 2 years to realize how damaging the auction house was, and would shut it down completely in March of 2014.
There it is.
At this point, we all started to worry
There
and
it is.
wonder, how could Blizzard continue to get into legal trouble? How could this company with a stainless track record bungle it so badly with Diablo 3? How could they betray us?
We didn't live up to the high standards that we really set for ourselves.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Oh, Nostalgious!
As WoW
Damn, I forgot
continued
all
to
about
lose
that.
subscribers,
Yeah.
fans took it upon themselves to recreate the WoW game they wanted. Many private servers popped up offering different iterations of WoW that were no longer playable.
Yep.
Do you think when Burning Legion came out that it was the best? Here's your server.
Yep.
Wrath of the Lich King? Here's your server. Vanilla? Here's your server.
Yeah, Nostalgious was fucking huge.
It wasn't legal, but it showed a surprising demand.
Look at all those fucking people, dude. Holy shit, that's a lot of guys. So yeah, I mean, like, I never played Nostalgious, but I was very, very close to playing it. A lot of my friends played it. I just never went in there myself. I kind of wish that I had. In retrospective, I kind of wish that I had. But yeah, it was the first time, no lag. Well, I mean, like, listen. The Blizzard, they've got the best servers, man. They got the best servers, obviously.
For that classic vanilla experience. At its height, Nostalgious had 800,000 registered accounts.
Jesus,
Naturally,
dude.
having that many people
That's a lot
flock
of
to a
people,
service
dude.
that you don't operate is bad for business.
Yeah.
And in this case,
Copyright infringement.
the solution? Shut it down, boys.
I don't think Blizzard was in the wrong for shutting down Nostalgious. I mean, they had to shut it down for a million reasons, and it did infringe on their copyright. And it's reasonable to think that people that played on Nostalgious would be less likely to pay for your game. Like, I mean, there's anybody that actually thinks Blizzard is assholes for shutting down Nostalgious is a fucking idiot. But at the same time, it's a disappointment that, yeah, I think people just wanted to play Classic. That's really what it was. Copyright protection, yeah, I don't know, man. They should just make a better product. No, because then, like, it's not about that, man. Like, it's about people. Basically, I think if you, I'm not really a big fan of, like, a lot of the copyright laws. I feel like they're kind of intrusive and unfair. But I think that at the point where you're promoting a product and you're providing a product that takes away sales of the people who originally have the IP of it, then yeah, I think that's not good. That's bad, and that's reasonable to want to get rid of it.
They pulled out their Warhammer, sent a cease and desist order, and Nostalrius was shut down. But that only seemed to further...
Nostalrius, oh look at that, dude. Nostalrius, they shut down on their own. Like, the cease and desist happened, but Nostalrius just immediately complied with it. Like, they didn't try to fight it or anything. They just complied with it immediately. Yeah, it's my video, man.
Agitate the already upset fan base. A petition popped up begging Blizzard to consider a vanilla version of WoW. It received over 280,000 signatures.
Yep.
They couldn't deny the facts anymore. A lot of people
Those were the
didn't like
days.
WoW anymore, and they wanted the old version. And
It's crazy, like now we're getting into the point where, like, these are things that have happened that I remember. You know, that I was, like, there for. I was making videos about this shit. I think that's one of the coolest parts about this is, like, you go back and see my videos and, like, me complaining about it, etc. You know? Classic Andes get so mad. Yeah.
Blizzard was upset because they felt fans weren't appreciating or understanding the work they were putting in.
Remember that one bug that really pissed you off that we fixed like 2 years ago?
No.
Still there in the past.
While it was within their rights to terminate the server, for 3.5 years, no alternative was offered by Blizzard. And this was made all the more worse when J. Allen Brack, the new CEO, answered this question.
Here we go.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No.
No.
And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Here's a lesson in healthy business practices. Don't tell your consumers what they don't want. Tell them why they want what you're working on. Better yet, listen to what your fans are asking for and meet that demand. There's no point in showing this kind of contempt towards your audience unless your goal is to purposely damage your own reputation and goodwill. And
I think that, like, what J. Allen Brack said is, like, true for a lot of people. To be fair, like, I think it's true. There's a lot of people that played Classic for a while, and I remember whenever Classic came out, like a month after that, the face. They said that, like, oh, Classic made me appreciate BFA a lot more. You know, now I appreciate retail way more. So I think he was right for a lot of people. It's just that he wasn't right for everybody, and there was still a huge audience of people who did like Classic, right? And I think that, like, what I think this video, like, what I would go a step further and say, you don't necessarily need to look and see, and I've said this before, right? You need to look and see what the people ask for, and not necessarily give them what they ask for, but derive from what they ask for what they need and give them that instead. So I think what people wanted with Classic WoW, like, yes, obviously they wanted the original game, but many of the people asking for Classic WoW really wanted a return form for World of Warcraft. Classic WoW is just the way
actually kind of better.
Then J. Allen Brack started talking shit about Classic WoW. Yeah. How their expansions were so orgasmically good.
Remember when you had to, like, spam cities and say, need a tank, need a tank, need a tank during the Burning Crusade days? You don't remember that, because now you just push a button that says go to the dungeon.
And now you don't remember the dungeons.
You would be a fool to want the older, obsolete, inferior version of WoW. Don't fucking patronize me. With the shutdown, the Nostalrius team went to Blizzard's HQ and gave an 80-page essay on the development of the server. It looked and sounded like Blizzard was going to work with some of the Nostalrius devs to create WoW Classic. That would have been awesome. Spread some goodwill with the community, and these developers would make great representatives of that community. It would inspire faith in the company, but they never actually worked with them, and it really shows the sinful pride of Blizzard. For a long time, they just couldn't accept the fact that fans didn't like the newer expansions and how WoW was changing, but they were the ones out of touch, not the community.
I don't think that it was entirely because of that. Yeah, I don't think it was entirely because of that at all. Like, to me, like Blizzard, it made sense that they wouldn't want to do Classic WoW. But I just think that at Closed Fridge, stop. Just stop, guys. Anyway, so yeah, it makes sense that they wouldn't want to do Classic WoW in a lot of ways, and I could see their logic for it. It's just that at the end of the day, I think that a lot more people liked Classic WoW than didn't. That's really what it comes down to. And private server, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Closed Fridge, can we time out the Closed Fridgers? Yeah, let's time that out, Sinway. Okay, anyway, so, I don't know, man. Like, I see what Blizzard was trying to get at with Classic WoW, and, like, what their goal was with it, but at the same time, I'm not really, I'm not convinced they made the right decision until they introduced Classic, right? Even though it made sense for them not to want to do it, I don't think that it was entirely because of pride. I think that they just didn't want to invest the time into something and then be stuck holding on to something and spending money on it, like kind of keeping it alive if it wasn't going to make them money.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
BlizzCon is the annual convention held by Blizzard.
Those were the
It's
days,
a massive,
man.
exciting event that showcases and
Those
promotes
were
all
the
their
days.
major franchises. Celebrities make appearances, famous bands close out the show. It's just epic.
Who's this guy? This is a dwarf. And you know what? I prefer a little person. Well,
Okay.
Not many developers have an entire convention at their disposal, and it's just
That's
Blizzard's
good, dude.
way of showcasing their power, getting
Yep.
fans hyped to consume product. But in 2018,
Which is good.
BlizzCon became the opposite of that. Hear ye, fans of Diablo. Behold, the new experience you've been waiting for. Diablo for Immortal.
So we knew we want to use mobile devices as the platform for a new Diablo game. Because nothing brings a family together like slaying demons.
you want to explain yourself? What?
To this day, I still cannot believe that they did this.
Dude, I still haven't watched that whole scene.
I
because
can't.
it's So I can't, like, I literally can't watch it.
I can't watch it. I'd rather watch Scott's Tots on repeat for fucking 100 days than watch the announcement of Diablo Immortal. Like, I don't want to fucking see it, man. It's just, it's so sad. And it's like they shouldn't, like, it was just so fucking bad. Fuck.
What are you doing?
People were confused, and through
Yeah.
a series of hilarious questions in the faces of the developers, the situation started to get out of hand.
So how long has Diablo Immortal been in development, and how is it affecting other Diablo projects?
Yeah, good question.
Well, you may or may not have heard.
I can't imagine the embarrassment of having the crowd of people at your own convention turn against you. But
Well, I feel like I felt bad for the guys. I really did, because like they weren't really, I mean, they weren't going out of their way. They weren't doing anything bad. I mean, I think that probably like they don't even make the decisions on like anything like that. So it just doesn't make any, it doesn't make any sense to hate on them. But at the same time, it's kind of, it is kind of sad. Fuck, man. I couldn't see a, okay, dude. Let me go down to the other ones. All right, here we go.
it should showcase just how out of touch
Yeah,
you are with
where's
them.
the
In particular, majority of the games are PC oriented, with Blizzard, Hearthstone being one of the other mobile games.
Yeah.
Why bring it to mobile? Are you trying to reach a new audience of players?
What we remember about BlizzCon 2018 is the charcoal remains of the PR department.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No.
Blizzard said they were surprised by the negative response.
What? The legend.
Now, either they're lying, or they are once again supremely and genuinely out of touch with their community.
Probably both. I would say probably both. They don't really know what the players want. It's hard for them to understand it. And at the same time, they, lying for sure though, well, no. I don't think that they understood, like, I don't know why they wouldn't understand this, but they don't. I think that a lot of the developers and Blizzard and a lot of companies are like this. They're so insulated from their audience and their actual fans that they don't even directly communicate with them. So the only things that they ever get from their fans are like angry messages. They don't see the positive stuff. They don't see the good stuff. They only see like an angry person who's like tweeting at them on their personal account telling them that they suck. So they're insulated from the actual community. They're separated from the community by these community managers and like these other red tape fucking things that they have going on at Blizzard to make sure devs don't say anything bad. Then on top of that, you have Blizzard probably saying, yeah, obviously we weren't going to say that we knew it was bad, you know? I don't know, man. Because Blizzard's owned by Activision, I don't think that's really what the secret is, man. I'm not sure. Next expansion's gonna hopefully be good. Yeah, I've been saying that for a few years now, probably about 10. I don't know, man. Numbers don't add up. Why? Classic's more popular than retail? Just because there are more people that are raiding in Classic versus raiding in retail WoW doesn't mean that Classic's more popular, because Classic only has one end game. So like anybody who's a max level player is going to be doing BWL, versus most people that are playing retail WoW don't even raid. So it's not an accurate comparison. Start a video game company. I don't really think that's it, but like that's a big problem. Is like the developers, they don't have like that community engagement that they used to. That's a big issue, right? Retail entities. It's not about that, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter which game's more popular. Just play whatever you want. But it's simply dumb to say that Classic's more popular. There are obviously more people playing retail WoW. That does not mean that retail WoW is like infinitely better than Classic or anything like that. It's just that there's more to do in retail WoW. Like it's not, I don't know.
Am I so out of touch? No.
Blizzard, your fan base is mostly a PC gamer demographic.
Yeah,
those are the people who buy tickets to BlizzCon.
Yep.
If you want to make a phone game, make a phone game.
Of course.
But don't expect your fans to give a shit or not bombard you with questions like,
is there any plans to make this playable on PC, or is this strictly mobile?
That's one thing I was curious about.
Nothing!
Blizzard's ideals and principles were shelved in favor of tapping into the mobile gaming market. If you didn't think they were selling out with the auction house,
you
sure did now.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have
Everyone's got a phone.
right?
You can play on your tablet too.
Hey, that really sucks!
You guys not, that's the fucking, in 10 years, Blizzard will never live that down. That's the funniest thing about this, is like they will never live that shit down of the one day that they had that happen. I feel bad for them in a way, but at the same time, I kind of don't. You know, it's what they get, man. This mount was so bad. I know it was awful. Like, I felt bad for Blizzard, honestly. Like, I don't, the thing is, like, I think there's a lot of people, if they had announced Diablo 4 at the same time, and then they announced Diablo Immortal with Diablo 4, everybody would have been super happy, and they would have been excited to play Diablo Immortal and Diablo 4. But the reason why they were mad about this is the bait and switch. They were mad because they thought they were getting Diablo 4, and they got Diablo Immortal instead.
And not only that, but remember, before that BlizzCon, Blizzard put out a thing on Diablo saying, guys, we've heard some rumors, and you think that we're gonna do like Diablo 4 news this year, and we're not. So they even they knew it was coming, and they tried to curtail the amount of backlash they would get, and it still didn't work.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So I guess, like, yeah, how could they say they didn't expect people to be negative about it if they made a press release saying that there weren't going to be the things that people were expecting? A little bit contradictory. Blizzard stocks fell 20% that days because of Diablo Immortal. I mean, like, I think Diablo 4, okay? Like, Diablo 4 does look really good. But I'm gonna tell you guys right now, like, I don't see how Diablo 4 can compete with PoE. I don't see how it's possible. Like, PoE is just so far ahead in terms of ARPG. Diablo 4, I mean, obviously I think Diablo 4 is going to have superior combat and fluidity than PoE because that's what Blizzard really specializes in. Only people who write positive messages about Blizzard will get beta access. We'll see what happens. But overall, that's one thing, like, Diablo 3 really has. Like, combat feels visceral in Diablo 3. Like, whenever you hit somebody with a fucking slam with that hammer ability, like barbarians, and the corpses go fucking everywhere, that feels fucking good. Like, the combat in Diablo 3 feels really good. Or at least it did back whenever I played it. I haven't compared it to anything recently. But PoE is very complex. So I think Diablo, if they're going to go, I don't think that they should try to compete with PoE in terms of complexity. I don't think so. Because the game is just so, they're so far behind. And also, as a AAA development studio, they're just not going to be as agile as Grinding Gear Games is. They will just never be as agile as they are. Because there's too many people involved in the project for that to happen. So it would be a better decision for them to make basically PoE light and just kind of have that fill the void. It's the same as, like, you have games like Escape from Tarkov, right? Where it's like a very, very complex game, and because of its complexity, a lot of people don't get into it. And you have other people that like Warzone a lot because it's simpler. And you could kind of compare those two games. There's a lot of people that are positive about it, a lot of people that are not. People don't really hate Tarkov, they just don't want to play it. And I think that's the difference that Blizzard can hopefully go with. Blizzard can be Warzone, where PoE can be Tarkov. That is, in my opinion, the best possible outcome. Record profits,
Video
record
game
layoffs.
development is notorious for how hellish it can be. An extremely competitive market filled with stressful deadlines, long hours, hectic work weeks, and worst of all, uncertainty of consistent employment. When a game is finished and out the door, many employees have to wonder if they too will be sent out. Well,
dude, I remember that shit that happened, man. Like Marty O'Donnell. Remember that, McConnell? They fired Marty O'Donnell. This dude.
That?
What do you mean, who's that? That is the dude that made the Halo music. And I remember they got rid of this guy, like, right after they got finished making a game or something. I don't remember, like, what it was specifically, but I felt so sad about that. Because that's the guy that made the Halo music. Like, I fucking loved that music. That guy is a fucking legend, man. And they just got rid of him. I was so sad to see it. Fuck. Before Destiny came out? It was before Destiny? It's Destiny 1? I don't remember, man. Let me see.
Be sent out. Well, Blizzard answered that question by laying off 800 employees in February of 2019. 800 people with families and lives and an income they need, benefits, insurance, gone. Well, employees, this has been real educational and all, but now it's time to part with that old Activision Blizzard saying.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my building.
During this time, Activision Blizzard reported...
I mean, like, I don't think it was a necessarily... Was it a bad decision to fire the people if they felt like those people weren't necessary? Like, I don't think that it's like, I don't know. It's like they always do that. Yeah, I mean, yes, what the fuck? Yeah, it's a business. They rehired the positions. That's the shady thing about it, right?
The kicker, right?
That's what I think makes it bad. But, like, companies restructure all the time. I don't think that it's fair to just kind of, like, demonize any company for doing layoffs if they feel like certain positions are redundant or not important anymore. Like, that's what they have to do.
No, they didn't do. I don't think that's why. Like, I mean, it might be. I'm talking out my ass, but it could be like, you know, those employees were there for so long, and they would have gotten more benefits as time went on. They would have had to offer more benefits, and they didn't want to do that because it would have been expensive. So they just hired new people.
Yeah.
They said fuck that, and then they just hired new people.
Yeah. See, a bonus same every year, by the way. Well, yeah. I mean, like, what I'm saying is that, Like the CEO bonus and this are like kind of two separate things. I don't think that businesses have an obligation to employ people whenever those people don't provide a tangible benefit to the business based off of what the business considers valuable. Like, I don't think that they have an obligation to do that. Because to say otherwise is basically saying that like businesses have to hire people, which is, I don't think that's fair either. But I think that really the shadiest thing about this is the fact that they rehired people for the exact same positions.
$7.5 billion in sales, $1.8 billion in pure profit. Cracked the goddamn champagne bottles, what an accomplishment. You guys remember the Wii U? Yeah, it was pretty gross and flopping super hard back in...
I know what he's gonna say. I'll just let him say it.
2014. Nintendo was not looking good, and at that point the boss, Satoru Iwata, took a pay cut to keep his employees employed. That was at a time when Nintendo saw a 30% decrease in profits. People look to big...
Yeah, I remember whenever that happened, man. That guy's a fucking legend. Like, that guy was also... Wasn't he the one that coded Pokemon, like, Gold and, like, Silver or whatever to have all the old zones, too? And everybody thought it was impossible? Like, that guy is a fucking legend. And, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was insane. So, it's like, it is different, but also, I think that there's something to be said. I really like the, I don't know if it's really like a Japanese, like, business values, but I could call it that, right? The Nintendo business values, at least. Nintendo, I feel like, is probably one of the most steady and solid companies throughout the entire, like, gaming restructuring, because what they've done is they've stayed true to what they are, and instead of trying to compete with PC games, they've done things different with the Switch. They've made the Switch portable. They made the Wii, where you move your hands around. They're innovative in a way that PlayStation and Xbox aren't taking chances with. And because of that, they're focusing on their audience of generally younger gamers, making games that are more lighthearted for the most part, and they're still succeeding, and everybody still loves Nintendo. And that's very important to keep in mind. Like, PR stuff, like, it's not a big deal, but it does matter. It does really matter. They did it and it flopped. I think the Wii was successful. The Wii was very successful. The Wii U was not successful because it didn't translate, and it didn't, people didn't know it was a new console, basically. That was my understanding. I did some reading about this, and I saw like a few like articles about it. People didn't understand the Wii U was a new console. They thought it was like an add-on to the current Wii. And that's why when the Switch came out, it was very, very popular. Like, the Switch is extremely popular now. I don't know how popular, really. I don't have any numbers. But I think that's a very popular game, or a very popular console. Like, if I was going to pick right now, I'll give you guys this example, right? And obviously, this is the 20-minute tangent in the middle of a 40-minute video, right? I have every single Nintendo console ever since Super Nintendo. And I would have had the original Nintendo, but I wasn't old enough. So I started there. I have GameCube, Nintendo 64, fucking Wii, the Wii U, the Switch. I have everything. Every single fucking console. Xbox, I don't have the new Xbox. And I don't have the new, I don't have the PS3. I never got it. It didn't matter to me. But Nintendo, I always made sure I had a Nintendo. Because they were doing something unique and different. I have a PS4, though. I have a PS4. I didn't buy a PS3.
Companies for guidance. We want to feel good about where our money is going. Is it going to Bobby Kotick's wallet? Or is it going to the people down and dirty on the front lines who sometimes work 70+ hours a week? Nintendo made a statement about the importance of their employees. And Blizzard did the same. They were just radically opposite statements.
Yeah.
I get that a company may take on more workers than they need over time, and Activision Blizzard might not have been able to find a place for these 800 lost souls. But does that make it any less disheartening for a company to be celebrating its greatest success without sharing that with some of the people who made that happen?
In June 2003, the leaders of the Diablo project left Blizzard North. Feeling like they weren't involved with the big decisions anymore, and unable to guarantee their own employees' compensations and futures, the Blizzard North executives protested.
I remember this.
They even went so far as to tender their resignations unless they were heard. Unfortunately, those resignations were accepted.
In 2019, perceptions around Blizzard had completely changed. And in October of 2019, a professional Hearthstone player, the martyr Blitzchung, made
This was such a... I remember the day this happened, everybody was going... Do you remember that, McConnell?
What was it?
The Blitzchung, the free Hong Kong thing.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God, dude.
That was rough.
That day, everybody, like, every streamer... like, was just getting fucking harassed that was playing a Blizzard game because people thought that, like, they were doing a good thing by harassing a streamer for playing a video game. It's like, that's one of the dark sides of internet activism, is that it rationalizes bad behavior for people, and it just makes them feel good about, you know, hurting other people and being assholes. And that was not good, but at the same time, like, I got a lot of that whenever, because, like, obviously I was, like, you know, classic WoW streaming. There's a lot of people that were fucking, that were watching, you know, and it was fucking awful, man. And another day of people rationalize bad behavior no matter what. I don't really think that's necessarily it. You banned so many people that day? Yeah, I just started banning people because of it, because they were just, like, they were so emotionally invested in it. And I'll talk more about this, but I'll let him start.
A political statement in support of
Golden
the Hong
ticket to be
Kong
an asshole?
protests
Yeah,
while on a
exactly.
live stream.
Nuclear launch detected.
There we go.
Nuclear launch detected.
As Americans, we are naturally sympathetic to those who have had their freedom stripped away unfairly.
They say a man never really knows himself until his freedom's been taken away.
Hell
Such
yeah,
is
brother.
the undisputed case in China. Now, I'm not trying to grandstand, but
Yeah.
China isn't exactly the paragon of human rights.
No!
Yet Blizzard's
No, it's
monetary
not.
ties to China, like many other U.S. companies, they have to tiptoe around China's strict guidelines to release their products in their country. They are very picky and very profitable.
China's actually a free and
Yeah,
loving
something
country.
like that.
Not taking any chances, Blizzard banned his ass. Fuck those new casters. No payment. You're gone. You're banned. Hope you learn your lesson. Speaking out about human rights issues.
I don't think that... The thing is that it's very complex, because I think really what the problem was is that they were censoring for this company. And, oh, do you know? No, it isn't. Here it comes. No, it's not. So I'm going to say something that's probably going to be controversial, okay?
Oh, don't.
I've got it. I mean, like, you got to have some common fucking sense, okay? Like, yes, to a degree, I don't want to see people that go and the agreement was that they would not make political statements on the show. And he goes and he makes a political statement on the show and he gets removed. That's not... Like, he violated the contract. Like, do you want to have every single thing somebody takes their hobby horse and then they fucking talk about it whenever they're on the show? No, I don't think so at all, man. And, true, no. I mean, the thing is, like, there's no reason to act like not again. Well, that's because people are blinded by emotions and are not thinking logically. Do you want every single show that Blizzard does to be inundated with the casters and the competitors' politics? No. Of course not. I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. So I don't understand how this is somehow different. Now, the reason why it was bad is because Blizzard was doing it because it was not because it conflicted with their values, but because it conflicted with their profit. Like, that's all there is to it. So, for example, if someone had gone up there and they had said, and also because it was in China, it's like if somebody had said in Hearthstone that they believe that everybody should have the right to marry whoever they want, Blizzard would not have fired them. They would not have fined them. They would not have banned them from the events, okay? They would not have done this. So the issue was that it was selective as well, is that Blizzard takes a stand and pretends about caring about human rights, and then whenever it can cost them money, they fold. Which is like, okay, that's fine. If you want to decide that and you want to make your decisions based off of that, it's completely okay. If you want to be just a soulless, blood-sucking company, then be a soulless, blood-sucking company. But don't be a soulless, blood-sucking company and then post things about how much you care about different minorities, while at the same time letting other minorities get dominated by an authoritarian, totalitarian police state. Like, you can't have the two of them. I think that the hypocrisy was what was really bad. That's what I didn't like.
On our platform, this is not a political platform, except it is.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's convenient for us.
Exactly.
Now, I did a whole...
Not convenient, but profitable. It's profitable. But I know that, like, obviously is simping so hard? No, I'm not. I'm speaking logic. I'm telling the truth, right? And because... the thing is, like, the logical conclusion of what I'm saying is something that everybody would agree with, but because it's with something that they are emotionally invested in, they're not thinking about it clearly. I don't think that there's any sort of weird shit going on. Like, there's nothing wrong with Blizzard not wanting political messages on their platform, but they can't say that and then only be okay with some political messages and not others.
Video on this subject, please check that out if you are at all interested. I summarize it a lot more in depth, so I'll be brief. On its own, it's a fucked up decision, but with the George Floyd protests, it also shows the real double standard and hypocrisy. You banned Blitzchung, docked his pay, fired the casters involved, all because he supported a protest in Hong Kong.
I never was against them firing the casters. I'll say this again, because they knew what he was about to say. How did they know what he was about to say? Because they put their heads down so they wouldn't be able to be seen by the government. They knew what he was going to say. And so obviously they colluded in allowing him to break the rules of the tournament. Like, it seems pretty obvious to me. Is that bad? Well, wait, but they're not production? They have no power over what he says?
Yeah.
But people disagree with that? Wait, why do you guys disagree with that?
They're fucking mad. They're questioning you and everything. Look at
Well, I don't understand how that, like, they put their head down before he said anything. Why would they do that unless they knew what he was going to say? Or are we at least this far? They probably knew what he was going to say before he said it. That implies that there was some sort of collusion about this, and they willingly allowed this to happen. They did not tell production. They did not do anything like that, and they allowed it to happen, which put people in jeopardy, people's jobs in jeopardy. They probably saw him put on the mask. Maybe that could be it. I don't know. But I think that it's also completely possible that they talked with him. What are they supposed to do? Not interview him? It's not their choice? They could tell production, have production talk to him and tell him not to do that. Or tell him not to do that himself, because it puts other people's jobs at risk. There's a lot of people whose jobs, like, you guys need to remember this, right? Blizzard taking a stand against China loses a lot of people their jobs. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do, but what I'm saying is that it's not as black and white as you might think. This altruism that you might believe in is actually selfish in many ways.
And you have the gall to post this on Twitter, as if your company represents this statement wholeheartedly.
Of course
Racism has no place in our society or any society, except Hong Kong and China. Those societies are cool. Nothing's wrong with them. All is well-consumed product. Even if you weren't just another company
like that,
morally grandstanding on these protests and this issue while it's current, it's blatantly hypocritical. Outrage was so astronomical at Blizzard that the United States Congress asked them to reduce the punishment. Motherfucking Congress got involved. You fucked up so badly.
They're just trying to get on top of it for clout. They don't give a fuck.
Boycotts were gaining traction.
I don't
Blizzard
believe that.
had yet another PR nightmare on their hands.
Yeah, right.
Base is under attack.
Our town is under siege.
We're being attacked. We are under attack.
Destroying our city.
The town is under attack.
This sounds like me.
Now, they eventually
damn.
reduced the punishment, but never actually directly addressed the criticism. Only vaguely stated that
we will do better going forward.
J. Allen Brack deserves a lot of flack for how he handled this situation. You're supposed to be
I don't like how they didn't mention the guy. I thought that was kind of silly to me. They didn't mention the guy. They didn't talk about it. They only referred to it. What do you call it? They only referred to it tangentially. Opinion on conduit strangers that are flanking destroyed. No farm them. You still have to. I don't know. I'll have to think about that later. But yeah, I mean, they didn't say it. They didn't say any. They didn't name the guy. They didn't name the event. They didn't do anything. Everybody knew what they were talking about, but they didn't do anything about it. And I thought that was kind of cheap. But I think that Blizzard, they just want to keep their relationship with China good so they can keep making money. Like that, I mean, that's what it is. Like the government, the US government isn't going to punish Blizzard for putting out a statement about Black Lives Matter, but the Chinese government will punish Blizzard for putting out a statement or a platforming statement about how free Hong Kong should happen. That's why it happened. And again, I'm fine with them being a soulless, blood-sucking company, but don't pretend like you have a soul sometimes and not others. The hypocrisy is what the problem is.
Leader. And at this point, Blizzard employees were probably feeling,
every decision you've made led us from bad to worse.
Shit. Oh boy.
Oh fuck.
Finally, we arrived to present day.
It is,
Warcraft 3 Reforged.
I've said this before. I would say it one more time since we're in the video. Have you guys ever noticed how after they brought this game out, the WoW players stopped asking for reforging? As soon as they added this fucking game, boom, they're like, you know what? No, please, please don't reforge anything else, Blizzard. Stop it. Stop reforging. No more reforging. We can't take any more reforging.
Dream come true for me. You have no idea how badly I wanted to see the custom games and multiplayer revived.
I think everybody
get hyped about it as if Warcraft 3 was a brand new game.
Yeah, of course.
This is Blizzard's latest and most damning fuck up of all. With a chance to revitalize one of the most important video games of all time. With a chance to revive the community, get new gamers into it, into RTS games, a genre that has been dying. Blizzard left the Warcraft 3 community in a worse place than if they had never touched it.
It's actually kind of funny that they somehow made it even worse than if they had done nothing. It's like usually you're kind of, you go and it's just like a neutral effect, but with Reforged, I really do think that they made it even worse. I'll be right back, I need to take a piss.
Where are you going? Make sure to give Asmund a lot of money. Make sure to give him as much money as possible.
This fucking cinematic, what a disappointment.
How can
this
a
was
company
so bad.
actually deteriorate a product's value 18 years later? That's a topic for your business class. Especially since the game...
Making an 18-year-old game worse. That's impressive, man. It really is.
Game still had an active community, and you tore out features and content that they've enjoyed for years. The way Warcraft 3 launched is beyond belief, but illustrates just how far detached Blizzard has become from not only their past, but their fans.
We didn't live up to the high standards that we really set for ourselves.
No shit.
When?
I speculate it was released in the state it was because of shareholder pressure, something that ex-members of Blizzard have said is tampering the way the company used to operate. Fans were beyond upset, and Warcraft 3 Reforged rightfully takes the crown for lowest review score on Metacritic.
Wait, really? It's the worst one ever?
No way.
I don't believe it, man. That's fucking incredible. And the beta is out. The beta's out.
There's even a parody website called Warcraft 3 Refunded that just made fun of all the bullshit Blizzard had peddled about this game. I won't go into every detail. I'll link some videos that do if you're interested. But here are the main points. 1. Blatantly misleading marketing led people to believe this classic title would have all its cutscenes remastered and remade.
Imagine that.
What we got was
servers are offline.
Not that. In fact, Homeboy
I want to just pause this real quick and show you guys.
Here actually showcases how the cinematography is less dynamic and interesting than the 2002 version.
Yep. Somehow.
I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth if I have to. Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
He's just standing there.
It is there that your true destiny will unfold.
Or this one's after him this time, right?
I'll hunt you to the ends of the earth if I have to. Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
That was way fucking better, man.
It's like they didn't even try. 2. Tons of core features of the game from 2002-2003 were not re-implemented. Ranked ladders gone. If you play multiplayer, prepare to get ass blasted because there is no ranking system at all. 3. Art direction was butchered. Ew. Gross. What is that?
It doesn't.
Oh,
the thing
sick.
is, like, it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like Blizzard. That's really kind of the issue about it. Is it just doesn't look like Blizzard. Period. The quality. It just felt so stilted. I think that's basically what it is. It just felt really, really stilted. And yeah, Blizzard didn't make it. You're right. Blizzard did not fucking make it. And I'm not surprised, honestly. Like, why not? Yeah, fuck it. Who cares? And Reddit has better. My Reddit has better art. That is, yeah, it is kind of true, man. A tier? Me? What do you mean A tier? Am I A tier? Okay. Awesome, thanks. Okay. Yeah, thank you guys.
Original Warcraft 3 does look extremely
really
dated, but everything is way more colorful and unique, recognizable. 4. Classic Warcraft 3 and even StarCraft 1 had a system implemented to prevent people from being dropped from matches. If your connection was interrupted or a little shaky at times, you get like a 45-second countdown timer, and if your internet was good then, the match would continue. Reforged does not have this.
Being pulled early on, Lawlighter was trying to go for a greedy Ancient of Forgrief, but if
bug,
this is
right?
cancelled, oh damn.
It's a bug.
That was not a bad BM leaving of the game. This was a disconnect once again. I'm almost 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Lawlighter would never do this.
But he has enough mana. I don't need a blood
That's
mage.
a
I don't need
fucking
you.
bug, man.
You're benched.
What a surprise.
And looks like another drop.
Okay.
If your internet connection is...
Yeah, that was really, really fucking bad. I don't even know what to say about that. It's complete fucking dog shit, but, you know, it is what it is. Small indie company? Yeah, exactly. No LAN matches. It was just complete fucking garbage, okay? And I want to say also, like, the reason, that's why you guys coming into chats, this is why I don't do the streamer ratings. Because people go into other people's chats and talk shit to them for what the other streamers rate them. That's why I never did the rating the girl streamers or rating other streamers, is because I knew people would do this. It's obnoxious. It is obnoxious. But like, I just want to make that clear. That is the rationalization for why I do not do it. Your child video source, but I'll look at that later. But I want to look at this right now.
Isn't perfect, you will be dropped from matches instantly.
Yeah.
This happens even in campaign missions, where you get an automatic mission failed screen.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Warcraft 3 Reforged represents Blizzard's complete lack of empathy or care for their older games and the fans who still play them. They just pissed on their own legacy. And these problems barely scratch the surface. And now Blizzard is forced to take their sweet time fixing things that never needed to be fixed. In the pursuit of money and who knows what else, Blizzard has lost their identity, being one of the core titans of the industry. And seeing them fall so far, fall lower than the likes of Bungie, is just sad, man. The franchises they used to be known and loved for are not what they once were. Where they used to be dedicated towards the fans, now they are dedicated to the shareholders. It's no longer about what do the fans want, but rather what can we get away with. Blizzard's sin.
That actually is a really good way to look at it. What can we get away? Can we fuck them this hard, or are they gonna start complaining about it? I feel like all gaming companies are like this now almost.
No. There's some good ones. Warhorse is really good, as far as we know.
Yeah, I feel like if a gaming company gets big enough, it turns into this. That Cash App with 100 more gifted subs. Holy shit! Thank you very much, Cash App. God damn! Thank you very much. Thank you, dude. Oh my god. I really appreciate that. Riot's the new Blizzard. I feel like all of these companies are gonna have the same issue happening. Is that, you know, they go public, they've got shareholders, the shareholders are making the decisions through the board, and then basically decisions are made that are not necessarily healthy for the game, they're not healthy for the player base, they're just healthy for profits. That's what matters the most. And yeah, too big to succeed. I think that's what ends up happening. You're right about that. Let me finish the video, it's almost over anyway.
Are numerous. Attempting to disclose private information of their users to solve an issue that could have been fixed by better moderation. Introducing microtransactions that undercut the core design and fun factor of a game people waited 12 years for. Allowing a rival company to steal the commercial rights to one of the most popular games of all time. Changing WoW into something fans didn't want. Failing to provide fans with the experience they had been begging for, until an independent group rose up to challenge Blizzard.
Yeah, some random guys.
Completely misreading their audience by building
who, by the way, have more stable servers than vanilla WoW classic WoW servers. Like, you guarantee, like, if there were that many people in Ironforge and classic WoW, there'd be people going like, you know, all the time, man. It was just complete fucking garbage, and it still is. I mean, this is... I don't know how the fuck that happens, man. I really don't.
Hype at their convention for a game their fan base has never expressed interest in. Countless tone-deaf, out-of-touch responses to valid criticism. Tossing out 800 employees like yesterday's trash during their most financially successful year. Punishing people who dare speak on important political and social issues, taking a stand with China, letting internal strife and protests run rampant within the company, tarnishing their own legacy with a careless disregard for the state of Warcraft 3 Reforged.
I don't know why they don't just go back and redo Warcraft 3 Reforged. Like, with Blizzard quality. I feel like they kind of owe it to the players, and they... Like, more so, they owe it to themselves. I mean, this is like a game that cemented their legacy. It's the reason why World of Warcraft exists is because of Warcraft 3. And it just seems like at a certain point, even if you lose money, it's too late. No, it's not. If they make a good game, people are going to go back and play it no matter what. It doesn't matter. Like, if they go back and they say, you know what, we don't give a fuck, we're still going to do this no matter what, people would still go back and play it. Even if, look at the, exactly. Look at No Man's Sky. I think that's a good example. Beta's updating. I am online in the beta right now. We're just waiting for the servers to come up, okay? That's what's going on.
These are just the monumental blunders, the ones that have affected me the most. If you want to see current sentiment towards Blizzard, go to their YouTube channel, where the like-dislike ratio is up in the air, and most videos have comments disabled.
Oh my god.
And if you take into consideration that Blizzard said they were going dark on Overwatch 2 information, couple that with the Diablo 4 reveal, and it just seems like a desperate attempt to shift players' focus from what a shithead company they've been to, whoa, look at these new titles. But that's just my theory. Blizzard has proven time and time again where their morals lie, and it's not with the consumers anymore.
I don't think it never really even had to be with the consumers. Like, have you ever thought maybe that if you make a really good game, people are gonna buy it, and if they buy the game, then you make money? Like, I don't know, like, this is like a weird fucking way of looking at things. But if you make a really good game, people buy the game, and then you've got the game, everybody likes it, and it's good. Like, I don't see how this is like a complicated process to deal with. I don't understand that at all. I really don't. That's Dark Souls video. I've got another one after this so we can look at while we wait for the service to come up. Go ahead.
I think the biggest problem here that I see is this is just a big problem with capitalism and how capitalism operates solely based on the interest of making money.
Yeah.
And I think we need to overthrow capitalism at its very core.
If we did that, then we just have the same old companies making shitty games every year, I feel. Like, it's just that the problem is that there's not the passion behind the games. And I think that's really the problem. And, like, the focus, in my opinion, the focus is on these, like, short-term gains. And I think that's really one of the biggest differences between, like, the way that Nintendo does things and the way, like, Blizzard and these other Western companies do things, is that these Western companies, they're focused primarily on quarterly profits, making money right now, and they're not investing in a stable product in the long term. Whereas you have people like Nintendo that are okay not going with the latest trend and doing, you know, everything that's exactly, you know, the market demands, because they know that their strategy is good for the long term. And I think that there needs to be more of that long-term thinking and less of the short-term thinking, because the short-term thinking, I feel like it alienates a lot of people, and it also isn't healthy for a user base. So I don't know, man. From Software, Nintendo games are boring. Well, not everybody likes them, and that's completely okay. If you don't like it, that's fine. But there are a lot of people that do like it, and I think that's really what the thing is. Look at CD Projekt Red, Asmund, are doing amazing things with their titles, and they do it for the customer's best interest. Well, there's a lot of people that do that. Let me finish the video first.
So now do you see the decline of Blizzard?
Yes.
I do, but...
I do.
But what, my son? What happens now? Will Blizzard ever redeem themselves?
I hope
Will
so.
I ever be excited for another title?
Yeah.
That is for them to decide.
It sure
we can
is.
only wait. But if
Yeah.
I were you, Act-Man, I would let go of hope. Let go before it leads you astray, like it did to me.
Yeah. I think, like, look at the related video. Look at the related video here, the decline of gaming. That's what I'm trying to get at, is I don't think that what's happened here is something that's unique to Blizzard. I think this is happening with all gaming companies. Like, I feel like, yeah, this is happening with everything. Watch it. I might watch it, but, like, right now, I want to talk about this one right now. The decline of entertainment. I mean, like, we're waiting for the beta to come out. Like, I'll show you guys here.
So much for Nihilo.
It's still fucking offline. Like, you knew we were gonna do the beta. Like, the beta's out. Like, did you get you got the beta, right?
No, I didn't get the beta.
Bullshit. You got the beta. There's no way you got into alpha, not the beta.
Hey, I only get into alphas. You understand, dude?
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. Whatever. Every company is just pumping out BRs. Yeah, I mean, I feel like generally, like, gaming has gone, because now gaming is much more popular. And people draw this same conclusion with streaming also. They say that streaming has become more mainstream, and it's like more about making money than it is like making a good stream or building a community. People are more focused on making money rather than anything else. You guys see what I'm saying? And they update the alpha, the beta. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I don't know, man. Like, I really get disappointed with this, and it's sad to see it. But I think that everything that he said is completely true. That's really what it comes down to. Everything that he said is completely 100% fucking true.